Welcome back to Streamline Investigations, people. And the topic of conversation, because I'm going through all the cases that I've started off doing to try to find some updates on what people are saying. And this is so Gene Hackman was born in 1930 and he died in 2025, earlier on this year, people. Was an Academy Award winner, American actor, some brilliant films. He was in Superman as well. Known for his versatility, and powerful performances over a career that spanned more than 4 decades. He retired from the acting in 2004 and lived a private life in New Mexico until his death in February 2025. So, death and legacy. Hackman and his wife, Betsy Acarakwa, were found dead in the Santa Fe home. Authorities determined that Hackman died of severe heart disease complicated by advanced Alzheimer's disease on February the 18th, 2025. So there's nothing sinister, although people did think it was a bit odd that they weren't found for a week. His wife had died about a week earlier from hantavirus. The Alzheimer's disease is believed to have prevented Hackman from understanding his wife's death, which is why authorities were not alerted sooner. Selected films. Hackman delivered many acclaimed performances throughout his career. The French Connection, 1971, Unforgiven, 1992, Bonnie and Clyde, 1967, brilliant film. The Conversations, Hoosier, Superman, 1978, where he played Lex Luthor, great film, and many others. So basically what it is, they never really said there's anything the police suspicious, even though a lot of people thought there were. Let's get into Yak Trap, see what they have to say about the Gene Hackman case.
So wildly sad to think about the fact that Gene Hackman passed away a full week after his wife passed away. They think she passed away of hantavirus, which if you're not from like the woods or the desert, you probably haven't heard of, but it's like a respiratory illness that you can get from rodents, rodent droppings specifically. So like if you're cleaning out your garage, you have to wear a mask and things like that. And so they think that was probably what the medication was for. And she just like had a respiratory event and passed away. And then he was suffering from Alzheimer's. So he was like shuffling around the house for a week before he ultimately, and the dog was in the kennel in the bathroom, probably barking and crying and trying to get out. And just the thought of that is so dystopian and depressing and sad. I cannot wrap my brain around it. And when I had to read that story like 5 or 6 times to be like, what are they saying? What are they even saying? And I just like, my best friend just said, like, there's so much shame in getting older and like needing help. And I hope that this is a moment where like we can continue to have conversations about how when people get older or really just ever, people need help and there shouldn't be shame around that. And you should be checking on your neighbors and checking on your family. Just absolutely awful. And I will think about that at night. I will think about him wandering around in that house. It will haunt me.
It's such a shame, but like I said, it just may have been, like I said, he had Alzheimer's. She died, she was getting on a bit as well. And it's such a shame. And like I said, maybe they weren't close to his daughters and, you know, their daughters, should I say, which is quite bizarre. Or they sometimes, with elderly people, sometimes they could be distant from the rest of the family and prefer it like that. And the dog starts so sad all around. Yeah, definitely. I'm so scared of getting old. Says someone else in the chat. Right. How is it if he was the far advance in Alzheimer's? No one was checking on them. Yeah, it's bizarre. Maybe they didn't want the checks, and he had 3 kids who never took care of them, and now will be going for their inheritance, definitely. And this is someone who had money. Imagine those who don't. That's a really good point. Did either of them have children? Wild to think no one called or sent text in a week. I kept thinking he put the space heater by her because he was confused and maybe thought she was cold. That's so sad. The poor dog has me the saddest. Yeah, it died just being in the room on its own, no food, no water. We also need to check on the caretaker and those who are ill disabled. They both were neglected for so long, my heart breaks, but it's the reality, is it not to be uncommon? My dad died of Alzheimer's. It's the worst. I'm so sorry. I live with my parents and they will never be alone. My father mostly takes care of my mum, who is fully disabled, because he feels that is his duty on the night where he can, and I'm there. But really, I'm surprised they didn't have any help. No, but some people, do you know what it is? After thinking about it, I thought it was alarming what actually happened to them. But it just seems like to me, they just lived their own lives. And maybe, like I said, they were a bit estranged from their daughters and other family members and preferred it like that. Maybe the postman or the neighbours popped in from time to time and thought everything was all right, or they could have gone away for a little while, or friends took them out. Who knows? But like I said, time goes so quickly these days, but it's so sad because he was a brilliant actor. And he obviously led a very, very quiet life and preferred it that way. I don't think there was anything sinister. I just think it was very, very unfortunate that other family members weren't around to keep an eye on them, because they may have still been alive today. Let me know what you think, people, and don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Investigations. And thank you.